auditions in the 90s. It came like a final year exam because you were prepared, as it were, a couple of days before the audition, just so that you would be on top of your game. Because of course you would be auditioning for a particular role with so many people who are equally good. So it will be a contest of varying interpretations, brilliant interpretations, no doubt. But the director will be looking out for just one of those interpretations to fit into the overall artistic expectation of that particular work. Having said that, it is not so, or rather, it ceased to be so after a while when mediocres invaded filmmaking in Nigeria. And I dare say elsewhere. So it's not something that is unique to Nigeria. But I would say, from where I am seated, that those who ought not to have any business with filmmaking invaded the industry and came with all forms of mediocrity, one of which was the jettisoning of rational, objective, dispassionate sense of casting, and subjected the entire structure that ought to, throw up the best of the best to play roles, subjecting them to personal, amorous expectations. And of course, again, same old for a bunch of loose women who had no business being in the industry, who had nothing to offer other than perhaps their beauty. And so they too came not to struggle, not to work hard, not to sweat to get roles, but to offer their bodies. I mean, that is, for me, is the definition of prostitution. So there exist producers who are amorous, who are irresponsible, who are unprofessional. Like I said, they had no business being in the industry. And of course, female, majorly, there are female, no doubt, who also had no business being in the industry except to flaunt their bodies and get roles. And let me tell you the truth, if you go back and see some of these roles, it is so easy for you to know that this person ought not to have played this role. So mediocrity began to thrive and all of those. But I must make the point that it is not something that is uniquely found within Nollywood. It happens in the banking sector, just that we don't get to hear about it. Why? Because we are always in the front of the camera. So we are always the ones that the world see. If you go to the banking industry, you'll find people like that. In oil and gas, in sundry human inclinations, you'll find that there are people who do not play by the rules. Okay, there are people who get promoted on account of how curvy they are, or on account of how they have been able to escorts to their orgas, if you know what I mean. And they land sumptuous positions. So they are not different from the young ladies who sleep around to get roles. They are all, like Zebudah would say, they are all 10 and 10 pence and all that.